Hey everybody, hope you're having a great day. Now, the Texas Longhorns are starting the 2025 baseball season tomorrow, and tomorrow comes a lot of change. We got a brand new coach is going to be, first game at Texas. New conference. We're in the SEC now. Technically, we were in the SEC before, but last season we played in the Big 12. This is our first year playing in the SEC conference. Got some new players, some exciting young transfers, some exciting young freshmen coming in. Going to give you all a possible lineup. Look at, hey, pitching order. We kind of it's kind of not it's about halfway set right now. We'll get into that, and then expectations. Look, at the end of the day, this is the University of Texas. This is a prestigious baseball school, one of the top 5 baseball schools in the country, and there's no arguing that. So expectations are always going to be high at Texas. And then we're going to give you some season predictions. We'll start off. We'll give you some pessimistic ones, some realistic ones, and then we'll get fully optimistic. So we'll cover all the ranges of outcomes. And yeah, if you like all that, drop a like on the video, subscribe to the channel, and then comment down below your thoughts on the Texas Longhorns baseball season coming up. Should be an exciting one. So with all that said, let's just hop right on into it. And let's see. Oh, got the wrong thing going there. Okay. Jim Schlossnagle, we got him. UNLV 2002 to 2003. Started out there. Not going to go over every last little thing. But the one thing that you're going to see with Jim Schlossnagle is a lot of postseason play. So a lot of times he's gotten in the regionals. And then also when he gets to the regionals, he frequently makes it to the super regionals. And then if he makes it to the super regionals, it's almost a guarantee. There's only 4 times out of, 18 times. So 4 out of the 18 times he did not make it to the to Omaha when he made it to the super regionals. So when you have a team make it to the super regionals, it's almost for under Jim Schlossnagle, it's a pretty damn good shot that you're going to make it to Omaha. So hey, if we're in the super regionals, start buying those Omaha tickets. No, I'm just kidding. But you also look at the regionals too. It's not just the success from the regionals to the super regionals. It's how many times he's played in the regionals. He's had 22 seasons as a baseball coach in Division I baseball as a head coach, and he's only missed on the NCAA tournament 3 times. There are only 3 times that he has not had a regional team, and that is not counting the 2020 season. Those seasons would be 2018. He didn't have a regional team. 2013, he didn't have a regional team. And then in 2002, his first year as a college head coach, he did not have a regional team. So this is a coach that really has had a lot of success and knows what is required to get his team to the postseason. Now, a lot was made of this. Him and not Jim Schlossnagle, him and CDC are really good friends. They've been best friends ever since their days going back to him coaching at TCU. That they were both AD and head coach there. To his left, you see Jay Hartzell, who is now at SMU. That was kind of a big loss, but big part of him coming in. And even more so, Kevin Eltife to the left. That is one of the biggest parts of Jim Schlossnagle coming to the University of Texas. Probably one of the most underrated parts. He has been a huge aspect of the athletic department, kind of almost lurking in the shadows. He had his hands all over the not CDC, but the Steve Sarkisian hire. But there you go. You also see right here. This was that infamous tweet from CDC where he was waiting outside the Snook. He was waiting outside College Station, sitting in the Snook Cemetery, waiting for Jim Schlossnagle to get back from the Omaha trip so that he could finally pick him up and take him home back to Austin. So, there was a lot working to get him to Texas, but it was kind of pretty much in the writing when you looked at, okay, hey, Jim Schlossnagle and CDC are pretty much good friends. And when you got to a certain point where, hey, David Pierce hasn't been there, there isn't word that he's coming back, or we're not hiring other guys. It was like, hey, are we getting Tony Vitello or are we getting Jim Schlossnagle? Because those are the only 2 guys left, available. So going on over to now the new conference. This is where Texas is really, really going to have to kind of prove themselves. You look at this, 4 of the top 5 teams are in the SEC. 6 of the top 10 teams in the SEC. So that's 60%. And then really this is out of the top 25, but you can go down because Texas is ranked 19th. 9 of the top 19 teams in the SEC. This is a very, very hard, and these, of course, also D1baseball.com rankings. This is a very, very tough conference to not only win in, but just to survive in. And I guess another thing to show how strong the SEC is if you look at this, the last 5 national champions have come from the SEC. Tennessee last year, LSU in 2023, 2022 Ole Miss, 2021 Mississippi State. That's the year they broke Texas' heart. There was no tournament in 2020 that got canceled. In 2019, that was the last time. Before then, we had 2018. We had Oregon State. That was the last time we had a non-SEC team win the College World Series. And then also outside of that, you look at this. This could probably go back further. I didn't really check on this part of it. They're consistently getting 3 or 4 teams in a 8-team tournament. So when you're talking about Omaha, which is again 8 teams, they are consistently representing half of the field. This is a juggernaut conference that Texas is going to have to. It's not just going to be a deal where we walk in, we strut in, and it's all sunshine and roses. There's going to be some bumps in the road, and we'll get to that with the optimistic and realistic predictions. But this is I just really want to reiterate, this is a very, very tough conference to go out there and compete in. You earn it in the SEC. So one way that Texas is going to have to earn it here is you're looking at the freshman players. We have some freshmen that are really good that are going to contribute day one, namely Adrian Rodriguez, Dylan Valentis, a guy like Cole Chamberlain, Jason Flores is probably has mitts on the ball, Drew Ehret. Really, any of the pitchers, I would say Chance Covert, being realistic, probably more here for the name, if we're just being honest. But there's a chance that he can actually go out there and give us something to be a good ball player. This is the University of Texas at the end of the day, and if you got a spot, you either better be a really special kid, or you better be a good ball player, because you're taking up valuable places, and especially in a year where we kind of really don't know what we got. We're more or less throwing mud at the wall and seeing what sticks, especially when it comes to the pitcher position. Any of these guys are going to have a chance to become solid contributors down the road. But for position players, mainly you're going to see Adrian Rodriguez, Cole Chamberlain. I think if you were going to see beyond that, Matthew Scott, he probably might get some run. Sam Richardson, and then Carson Luna. Those are the guys that I think you might get a good chance at seeing. Donovan Jordan probably later on down the road. Jonah Williams probably later on down the road. I know Jonah Williams is a very, very high-profile recruit. Trust me, I'm a massive fan of him myself. He just now started throwing, so we're going to have to wait to see on that one. But as far as the new freshmen coming in, there's a lot of talent that not Steve Sarkisian, but Jim Schlossnagle has onboarded immediately, day one. Transfers. This was a big part of, hey, we're waiting. He had less than a week to get the transfer settled. So this was really a great job of him to be able to get all this done in just such a short amount of time. But Grayson Saunier out of Ole Miss. Another key thing that you're going to see, there's a few of these SEC guys. So there's a little bit of knowledge on, hey, we're used to the demands and the rigors of the SEC play. Aiden Moffitt out of LSU, that guy, he's got some gas. This is going to be a big contributor for Texas. Connor McCurry out of South Carolina, I believe he's coming back from injury, not 100%, not completely 100% yet, but he's getting there. Could wind up being a huge factor down the road for Texas. You got Jared Spencer. This is going to be your day one starter right now. This could be one of the better transfers that we've had all year long. And we might look back and go, wow, Jared Spencer, yeah, he came out of Indiana State, but this is a legit dude that can actually pitch. And I mean, his fastball can get up there like 98, 97 area. Jaquay Stewart, he's going to get some good run. First baseman, DH. He's going to get a lot more looks at DH probably. The times that he's going to get on the field at first base is when Kimball Schuster's not on the field at first. But this is certainly a guy that is going to force his way into some at bats in the year. Easton Winfield, you got him out of Louisiana Monroe. This is a legit left fielder, legit outfielder, can steal bases. Probably isn't going to have as much home runs as he did last year. He might have some home runs, right? But let's not just I'm not expecting him to come in and immediately just start slugging the crap out of the ball. Like 10 to 15 home runs would be great for him. But he's going to hit a lot of doubles. He's going to hit some triples, and more importantly, he's going to put pressure on the base pass when he gets on base. A guy that gets on base a lot is Ethan Mendoza. This dude, he's not going to blow you away a lot, right? But he just gets it done, right? He just gets on base. He gets hits. He's not getting any of the crazy doubles. He's not hitting a bunch of home runs. He's just solid, and also solid second baseman. This is kind of almost what we need more than anything. Is just, hey, let's just calm the waters a little bit in some of these transitions that we've had. Ruger Riojas. This is a guy that is going to bolster this bullpen, and he should be a huge factor for us out of UTSA. We should be seeing him a lot here. Ethan Walker out of Walters State, left-handed pitcher. I mean, again, any of these pitchers is going to have a chance to go out there and make an impact. You got another guy like that is Thomas Burns, who he is also working back from injury. But this is a guy that when he is back from injury, this is a guy that has potential to be a legit starter for us and, work some good innings. Now, another thing that you're going to see with this coaching staff is if you go check out Zach at the Dish on Twitter and go check out all of his stuff that he does on YouTube for Orange Bloods. He had a great interview with Jim Schlossanger. And Jim Schlossanger, he's talking about how, hey, we're going to limit guys' innings, right? They're not going to be pushed. We're not doing the SEC is not a league where guys go out there and they throw 7, 8 innings or something like that, right? They're throwing 4 innings, 3 innings, 5 innings maybe, right? If you get a really good outing, maybe 6 innings or something like that from a guy. But this is a really tough league that mimics the MLB, and you're going to kind of see that with the innings that the guys get. Cade Bing, this is another guy that has a really chance to become a legit contributor on the staff out of McLennan Community College. This is he's only a sophomore. He's not a super old guy or anything like that. He's young, but you look at this. There are, out of all the transfers that you see on the screen, of the 11, 8 of them are pitchers. This is clearly a priority for this coaching staff to bolster this bullpen, which they really kind of have. I mean, if you look at it, last year, if we had this bullpen, we probably end up hosting. Maybe end up hosting a super regional. We're definitely hosting a regional, though, because we don't lose to BYU. We don't lose to Washington. And then we get the RPI that's good enough. So it's this is where it becomes really exciting, is when you pair this, the new pitchers with the returning production that we got. Like, if you look at the returning production that Texas has, when you look at the returning production that Texas has, we had 4 players who had an OPS of over 1,000. We're returning 3 of those guys. We lost Jared Thomas. Jared Thomas and Peyton Powell are really the biggest losses that we have offensively. And I think as far as Peyton Powell, you can say Adrian Rodriguez is probably going to fill that in. Okay? And then when you also go to Jared Thomas, yeah, we lost Jared Thomas. That's one hell of a loss. But you add in Easton Winfield. You had a Jaquay Stewart. I mean, this is almost like Moneyball, where you're kind of like, hey, you may have lost Giambi, right? But we can recreate him. So you kind of see that a little bit with the approach that they have through the portal. So that's going to go take us to a possible to let's look at some of what the possible lineup might be. Okay, this is depth chart. Now the the staff. This is more or less what I think it might end up being here in a few weeks. I think a guy like a Dylan Volantis, right? When you're looking at the starting pitchers, right now, Jared Spencer and Luke Harrison, those are the 1-2. Anything beyond that, we don't know yet. You're probably, my guess would be, and this is again a guess, would be that you're going to see Cody Howard on the date on Game 3 in Arlington, and then beyond that, maybe Dylan Volantis starts to work into a day 3 role, and I think those are kind of probably going to wind up being our starting pitchers the 4 that we see the most. If you see the relief pitcher, I mean, I put a damn near every name out there, and I did that on purpose because it's just this is you got Easton Tumas, you got some other guys, Will Mercer. Will Mercer's one of the names that I probably could have put on the transfer page because he was a transfer last year, but we lost him in the fall, and he's been looking great. Like he looked amazing last year, and the word on the street is he's looking just as good as he did last year before he got injured. So that is exciting to see. Max Grubbs, who was a starter last year, he's going to be able to bridge us in some of these games. But I put all of these names over there mainly to kind of say, hey, all of these dudes have a chance. Like, this is a new staff coming in. They're going to get their opportunity. Dudes are going to get their opportunity. It's going to be interesting to see who ends up becoming the closing pitcher. I would probably say Andre Duplantier is going to get that. You're going to see this here in a second when we get to the predictions. But as for the positions go, starting off at third base, we got Adrian Rodriguez. Casey Borba's probably going to fall in line behind him. Shortstop, Jalen Flores. Now, Carson Luna is probably technically he's probably your second string. But if Jalen Flores gets injured, I think what you're going to see is Casey Borba move to third base at the first string position. Adrian Rodriguez is probably going to slide over to shortstop, and then that's how we'd mitigate it. So that's why I have Adrian there. But besides that, you could probably think Carson Lunas. He's definitely in the conversation. Ethan Mendoza, Jaden Duplantier got some legit second base depth. First base, Kimball Schuessler and Jaquay Stewart. Those guys are going to give us what we need at first base. Easton Winfield and Matthew Scott out in left field. Now, Matthew Scott, probably more of a situation closer to Carson Luna. I just didn't want to put Tommy Farmer behind every guy. But Tommy Farmer, he is probably your fourth outfielder. So we've had some word on the street with Max Blue. He's been feeling some sicknesses. He's been coming over, I think, not going to say what it was, but he's been getting sick, right? And he's cleared. Everything's good on that front. He's probably going to have some limited time in right field. He's probably going to DH some more, and you're probably going to see a little bit of Tommy Farmer mixing the lineup early on, just to kind of get him back until his conditioning is 100% back. But Max Blue out in right field. Will Gasparino going to take over back in center field again. And then behind the plate, you got Rylan Galvan and Oliver Service. Behind Oliver Service, you probably got Cole Chamberlain. Now, there's a chance that Cole Chamberlain can climb this depth chart in the catcher position. Hey, defense we got to get that defense there, and he might that may be how he gets it through there. But so looking at the potential lineup, I know Kimball Schuessler at 1. What type of crack am I smoking? I'm smoking the crack that leads us to get a lot of doubles. Okay, Kimball Schuessler hits doubles. He does it often. He sees the ball really well. If you look at among the returning baseball players, I believe, and 1 second, and I would be correct in that belief, Kimball Schuessler among the returning Texas Longhorn players from last year's roster had the lowest strikeout percentage of 16.9. Next in line is Max Blue at 21.0. another to what I said earlier about Ethan Mendoza, he just does not strike out a lot. Only 10.8% of strikeout at bats result in a strikeout. So, and then you also Easton Winfield at 22.4 last year. So Kimball Schuster just doesn't strike out a lot. He sees the ball really well. He hits doubles. He just makes solid contact. This is a guy that you want. I know he doesn't necessarily have your typical leadoff speed. This is a guy that you want leading off. And if not, you want him right behind the leadoffs. Adrian Rodriguez, I think that this dude, he's just got it. Whatever it is, he's got it. Jalen Flores, easily a dude that could. I mean, you look at this part. We're gonna get into some meat of this order and some meat of this lineup. Jalen Flores, he's gonna hit plenty of doubles. He's gonna hit plenty of home runs. Gonna get plenty of RBIs in the spot. Max Blue, same thing. I mean, what else can you say? They're basically the same guy offensively. Rylan Galvan, this is an underrated guy as far as who can finish with the most home runs on the team. But ultimately, I don't think it's going to be him. Will Gasparino, this is a guy that could end up being one of the best. Like he's in the 6 hole right now for here, but this is where when you get to some really good baseball teams, hey, good hitters got to hit further on back. It is what it is. He certainly has a lot of speed with his 6'6", gigantic legs and gigantic stride. He's been adding muscle. Dude looks jacked now. He was in an interview saying he's eating 5,000 calories a day. Oh my goodness. Can't wait to see how this power, how that translates into power. And if he can just continue to make more contact on the baseball, the sky's the limit for this dude because he was one of the highest strikeout percentages last year at 36.2%. If he can just make contact and put the bat on a ball, he'll send that thing far. Easton Winfield, again, same thing as Will Gasparino. It's not a knock on him for being down here at the 7 hole. It's just that we got a lot of really good hitters on this team. This is going to be an offensive team. Now, he might, this is your dirtbag on the team almost, if you want to think about it like this. He might be able to work his way higher just because he's getting stolen bases, and hey, we need this guy on the bag because he's going to produce runs for us, especially early on in the game, and we need that. When you go to the DH, Borba, Stewart, Chamberlain, Service, it's going to be a hodgepodge down there. There's a lot of competition at this DH spot, and also kind of the first base spot. But because Kimball Schuster also can be right in that DH conversation. If you got Jaquay Stewart playing first base, well, now Kimball is he getting a day off? Is he catching? What's happening? This is also it gives the coaching staff a lot of ability to shuffle around the lineup, but you're not going to see that happen too much. You also hear Jim Schlossnagle talk about, hey, when I know my guys, I like to stick with my guys and I like to just play my guys, right? I'm not doing this whole we're getting experience for these guys. We're okay with taking some losses in some games. No. He wants to play the best lineup and win games. So with that, a guy like Oliver Service. Oliver Service had the second best fall of any player this fall. I think it was like a 459 batting average. That'll play. Chamberlain, everybody saw what he did at the alumni game. That'll play. Stewart can certainly hit. Everybody's seen that. Borba, we've all seen Casey Borba, and especially his late game heroics. This DH spot, it's going to be a spot that's going to hit the ball well. Whether it's through just competition or just sheer, we're gonna at least find one guy out of that. And then Ethan Mendoza, again, guy gets on base, doesn't strike out. He's not going to wow you away with anything, right? But he is going to get his stolen bases and all that stuff too. So there's a potential lineup. Get a potential look at what the depth chart might look at. Probably spent a little bit too much time on that. Sorry if y'all got bored on that, but just really kind of want to talk about, hey, what are we going to see out of this Texas baseball team? Because that's really the meat and potatoes of what we're talking about here. So we're going to move on to the expectations. And like I said, this is a team that has a ton of expectations every single year. We've made it to 62 regionals in our baseball history. We've missed 18. This is a university. We've been to Omaha more years than we've missed the regionals. The super regionals started in 1999. We've been to it's just over 50% of the super regionals that have occurred. Years that there have been a super regional, we've been just over 50% of them. And this is a school that we really, really demand success. And if you look at that, that's what just got David Pierce fired. David Pierce had one of the best starts that you could have from a Texas. And to really kind of show that, if you look, he has a 631 win percentage, compared to the 832 Cliff Gustafson. Yeah, great. 632 for Augie Garrido. The difference between him and Augie Garrido is Augie Garrido won. Or sorry, my bad. I had them backwards. That just makes it even more obvious. 631 for Augie Garrido. 632 for David Pierce. The only difference between David Pierce and Augie Garrido, through the point that I had made this chart, was Augie Garrido won national championship. So in 2021, had Texas beat Mississippi State, we didn't have that horrible game versus Will Bednar. We go on, we won the national championship. Hypothetical world, right? David Pierce is still the coach of the Texas Longhorns right now. That's how, it's just, look, expectations, they'll get you hired, they'll get you fired, okay? And right now, Jim Schlossnagle, he's going to have a lot of expectations on his plate, especially coming into the University of Texas. So going on to some predictions. So what are we going to see from some of these players? What are we going to see in the season record? I'll give you some season record predictions. Again, what I'm probably thinking is more realistic, right? That might be some of y'all's optimistic, but I'm also going to kind of show y'all, hey, even if my realistic is a little bit too optimistic, I have some good news for y'all as for how this works for the postseason. Works in Texas' favor for the postseason. SEC ball is a lot different now, okay? To the point that I made earlier, with us being in a conference that has so many teams that are ranked, if Texas were on the Big 12, we'd be the second best ranked team. We'd be facing the number one ranked team in the Big 12 right now this weekend against Oklahoma State, number 17 versus number 19. Surviving in the Big 12 it's a lot easier than surviving in the SEC. So let's get on with these predictions here. So for our home run leader, I got Max Ballou. Hit leader is going to be Easton Winfield. That one I'm wavering on, but I'm going to stick with Easton Winfield. RBI leader, because of where he's got the spot in the order, I like Max Ballou to get that. Doubles leader, so it's 2B leader, but doubles. That's doubles again. Kimball Schuster, I think this dude's going to be a double machine. He's going to hit. He might lead the nation in doubles. I'm not kidding. This is a legit guy that can hit the ball really well. Probably should have had more playing time under David Pierce. Stolen base leader, Easton Winfield, again, absolute dirtbag. You're going to see him out there. Batting average leader, I think that's going to be Kimball Schuster. Again, just sees the ball really well. Save leader, I think Andre Duplantier is going to end up being a closer. I just think that they're going to have trust in him, with his experience that he has. But this is a guy that he's been a closer before. He's shown the ability to have that mentality of, hey, yeah, I got what it takes to step into the fire. Your inning pitch leader, I think that's going to be Jared Spencer. I think Jared Spencer is going to take the reins and never look back. Strikeout leader, I think that despite the inning pitch leader going to be Jared Spencer, I do think Aiden Moffitt, that dude, he's got some nasty stuff, and I think he's going to be striking out quite a few dudes. And LSU might be thinking, man, why did we get rid of him? Why did we let him go? And then ERA leader, I think we're gonna have Ruger Riojas. This is a dude who was looking good in the spring game. There was a lot of hype around him coming in. What a name with him! What a name on him with Ruger. I love that. Uh, yeah, I got him as our ERA leader. So this is the individual player season long predictions. Screenshot it. Do whatever do whatever you got to do so you can send this back to me in a few months and scream at me about how I got everything wrong. And let's head on down to the predictions, right? So we're going to go on to some pessimistic predictions. Now, pessimistic. I'm being very pessimistic here, okay? I got the Texas Longhorns in my pessimistic predictions, and I'm going pessimistic first on purpose. This is a well thought out plan. If I were to give you all my optimistic predictions, y'all would listen to it, click off, and say this dude is on crack. Maybe, but we're going with the pessimistic predictions here. 23 and 31. So you're going to hear the pessimistic first. 23 and 31. Bad weekend in Arlington. We had 8 straight losses in Arlington. We had a 5-5 record. That is now a 5-13 record. Need to turn that around. In this predictions, that's not happening. In these predictions, we go 0-3 in Arlington. Win versus Houston. Win the series versus Dartmouth. Drop 1 though. Win versus UIW. Washington's been decimated. Win versus them. Texas Tech. I'm not going to go through every single game, but this is a less than ideal start for the first 16 games that you're going to have. To lose 6 to go 10-6. This is, if we're going 10-6 in the first 16 games, start thinking about football season. Just maybe stop thinking about baseball, because as you're going to see, it ain't getting any easier. Mississippi State, that's not a horrible first introduction. Now technically we do play Ole Miss first, but our first series in the SEC is at Ole Miss. Then we have LSU coming to town. We go to Missouri and Columbia. Have Georgia coming to town. Georgia is a very good football and baseball team. This is where when you start to be pessimistic about things, this is where this stretch of the schedule is going to start to get you, because you're going to start to see a lot of losses pile up really, very, really quickly. So here you go. If we're being pessimistic about things, might as well just have an entire series loss to A&M, get swept to Arkansas. That would be hell. This would be a living hell. As a Texas fan, our rivals beating us and sweeping us, one of those being in Austin, living hell. Okay? But again, we're being pessimistic here. And then lose everything to Florida. Why not lose another series to our rival, to our last rival possible, right? So is this going to happen? No, probably not. But I don't know what's more likely, pessimistic or optimistic. We'll get to the likelihood of which one is more likely between the two of those. Probably lean more towards the pessimistic side, but we'll see, because I think there is reason to be optimistic about this Texas baseball team in 2025, despite them going into a juggernaut conference if there's ever been one. So here we go. We're going to go with the realistic predictions now. And you know what? No, we're not going with realistic. We'll go with optimistic. We'll go ahead and serve you all the crack that you also desperately desire. 49-5 is my prediction for the Texas Longhorns in their optimistic realm. Obviously, going 16-0 in the non-conference slate. I mean, look, Texas Tech, they're not the Texas Tech of old. They've lost Gavin Cash. Texas this would be a team that, hey, look out for them in the SEC. They might not, the adjustment period may not be as long as we thought it would be. And that would be, hey, Texas, we're going in. We win versus Mississippi State, right? We sweep the series, first SEC series. Awesome. Beat UTSA, take 2 of 3 at home versus LSU, which would be amazing if we do that. Sweep Missouri. 2 of 3 against Georgia at home again. Again, this would be, what would be 30, I think 30 and 2. 30 wins, 2 losses at this point. That would be amazing if we're sitting at 30 wins, 2 losses. You go to, hey, now we have the chance to be sitting 42-4. I mean, I would love I would love to sweep A&M at home. If you could, I'd make that deal right now. I'd make that deal. It's like off Inglourious Bastards. Yeah, I'd make that deal. I'd sweep A&M if it meant we got to lose the Arkansas series. If we get a sweep at A&M at home, it means we got to lose the Arkansas series. I'd make that deal right now. I'd make it. And then Florida, take the series versus Florida, sweep Oklahoma on the road in Norman. And look, when you look at it, honestly, individually, these things, hey, could happen, right? I know I sound like the kid from Angels in the Outfield. That it could happen. Hey, it could happen. I think if this pitching staff is legit and they don't need as much transition time. There's not as much bumps in the road as there maybe could be. This is a team that has a really good offense returning, and they're good pitching away from being a legit dangerous baseball team. So going back to the realistic predictions, you got the again non-con. So this would be a 14-2 start. This would not be a bad start in the season. Okay, going on top of that 14-2 start. Sorry, I got distracted in the background. We're talking like 26-6 right here. This again is not a bad start. Dropping the series against LSU, that would suck, right? But we have a series win versus Mississippi State. Got a series win versus Georgia. We've swept Missouri. Hey, things are looking potentially good. Sweep Kentucky. Hey, looking good. Take the series versus Auburn. You could even switch these around because Auburn is at Austin and Kentucky, if you want to say that these things are less likely. Losing the series versus A&M, losing the series versus Arkansas, we are still sitting in a situation where we're at a pretty good record. And then we go into, hey, now we got the home stretch with Florida and Oklahoma. Oklahoma, they can be a good baseball team, right? But they're nothing better than what we are going into the preseason. So sweeping them is certainly is potentially realistic. And then Florida, they aren't an amazing team, right? But they're a pretty damn good team. I'm not going to sit here and try and discount them. They were in the semifinals last year. But in a world where we would have at that point 11 losses. This would be a team that's in legit contention for going out there and hosting a potentially a super regional. Because if you look at this, let's just assume, hey, 43-12. Put 43-12 in the SEC. SEC teams are what a little orange yellow deal. 43-12 that's a top 3 RPI in the SEC. So if we can even get to a 35 win mark, man, in the SEC, this is where we start to get rewarded. And I mean, it honestly does not look impossible. Because even with the realistic predictions, like, hey, no, you're smoking crack. This is including losses to Arkansas, losing a series to Texas A&M. We win the series versus Florida, lose the series to LSU, and win the series versus Georgia. We win 2 of our 6 series, of our Big 6 series that we got. This is where, I mean, even being realistic in the SEC, even if you just become pessimistic on top of the realistic expectations that I have, this is a team that has a legit chance to go out there and make the postseason and do some damage in the postseason. And you know what? This is where Texas baseball belongs, in the SEC, in a conference like this. So, all right, everybody, I hope y'all had a great day. I hope y'all enjoyed the video. I can't wait. The Texas baseball season is here. We start that off tomorrow at 7 p.m. Again, I cannot wait. Hope y'all have a great day. And as always, hook 'em!